Here we
video,
go.
fill in some blank space.
I got it.
I'm
I
making
got
sure.
nothing on the.
Hey,
Hello,
there we are.
hello.
We are live, I think. Are we live, Robbie?
Yep, we're live.
Okay. So, guys, we had a little bit of a,
That's
I
me.
guess,
That's me. It's me.
yeah, we had a little bit of a mishap on the times. Robbie, I don't know what happened, but you're running a little late. Why don't you run over to your place and get ready, and
Okay.
then we'll take it from here.
Okay, I bounced back in. Thanks, guys.
Okay. All right. Bye. Hey, Ross. Hey, Scott. Good to have
Yeah.
Okay.
you here.
How are you, mate?
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good.
You've
It's all
been
good
flying.
down under.
You've been flying your hotels
Okay,
down
Jack.
under.
Hey, Ross.
How are you, mate?
Doing good.
That's the way.
So everybody's been feverishly working on videos here from our drone meetup in Florida. I know Scott was there. I was there. A bunch of the people in the community were there. We wish you could join us one day, Ross. It was a really good time. Really is.
Yeah,
Florida.
a little bit far for me, Al. It's the other side
Well,
of the world.
well, it's an international meetup now because we've had the Canadians come down. So, but they're a little closer, aren't they?
Indeed.
Yeah, and we've had plenty of different nationalities there for sure. Yeah, we had there was an 8-year-old boy, no, 10-year-old boy flying FPV, and he was flying with the ELRS, EL, yeah, RS receivers on his digital quads. Um, he was flying 5-inch quads, and he's been flying for 5 years, Scott, and he's 10 years old.
Wow.
That,
Good
that's,
going.
yeah, I was interviewing him for a little bit. It was crazy. It was crazy good time. No, so with that said, let me. Why don't you throw? Do you got a video you could present, Scott, or should let me play the Karen video? How about that?
Okay.
Odie
Yeah.
Karen. Okay, so Ross, I will give you some context. We're flying early. Was a Friday morning, and nobody was really from the meetup was there except for the diehards that got there early, like Scott and I. And it was like 10 of us were there. Lee, Scott,
107
Barkley,
Barkley. Yeah.
yeah. And this lady comes up to me. Was that you that was flying that drone so close to
No,
me?
she didn't start that way. She started, and we were offering her water and thinking, "Oh my gosh, is she okay?" You know, didn't know what was going on, and she was like, get away from me, and wouldn't speak to us or anything, and we had to wait for her to finally calm down enough that she started speaking, and then she basically said what.
And then this is Scott put a little video together of her, and I thought it was really nicely done. By the way, I really like the way you did it. Let's see. Let's get here. I'll get this queued up. What's the weather like, my friend, down under?
Sorry, Al.
What's your weather like down there? Like 70s, 80s? What are we
You
talking
can
about?
sunshine. It's about 75. It'll be about 80 today.
That's about where we are in Florida.
It's similar to Florida. Yeah, that's right. Beautiful day. A bit windy. So dodging this webcast and answering my work emails. You know how it is.
Yeah, that clip is in the private chat.
Oh, that clip's in the private chat. Yep, I actually have it up now, Scott.
Okay.
And so, yeah, Ross, how is the humidity there? I mean, here in the East Coast, the humidity is pretty high, sometimes as high as like 80 to 90% humidity. It's just like a big blanket of water on you around here. How is it there?
It's just starting to have a change of season into the what we would call cooler weather. Over the summer, of course, you get the humidity and a bit of rain and heat and all the rest of it, the usual summer weather. But once we get into the middle of winter, it'll be about, I don't know, about 60 degrees, something like that, during the day. or 18, 20 degrees Celsius.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
beautiful day today. It's perfect, perfect one day, and what's the old saying? Perfect one day, beautiful the next. Whatever it is.
Yeah, it is very nice. Another way, in other words, yeah, very nice. Okay, well, cool. Definitely wish to visit you soon. Trying to make some plans to go out your way. Going to go visit Robbie, and then I'm gonna probably continue on. New Zealand is appealing to me as well as Australia. So hopefully, I'll get to meet you in person one day.
For sure.
All right. With that said, let's play that video, Scott. And do you want me to play the audio on that video, Scott?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can if you want to.
Okay, I'll do that then.
It's original.
It's original for sure. I'm going to turn the audio on, and I'm going to share the screen. And so hopefully, oh, you know what? I can't share it. You know why?
Because Robbie has to do it.
Then Robbie has to approve it. So let's continue on. So Ross, give me some context. What do you fly? What would you like to fly the best? I know last time I talked to you, you were flying all sorts of Autels and the Mavic 3, I think it was.
Got the Mavic 3 Pro with the 2 cameras, not the 3, and have the Autel Lite and the Lite Plus. The Nano I've sold. I'm planning to sell the Lite. Sorry, there's a jet going over the top. Planning to sell the Lite Plus as well. I'm downgrading my Autel fleet. To be quite honest, I have the, for want of a word, have the shits with Autel at the moment. Insofar as all the endless feedback from their customers, including myself, on how to improve their firmware software, their consumer drones, and it's just fallen on deaf ears. And any firmware updates they're doing are just so incremental. They're just so small, and they're just a nothing. So I mean, that's telling me either they don't care, or they don't have the technical expertise, in that department, be it firmware development or camera engineers, to fix their consumer drones. Because I've always had some particular gripes with the Lite and Nano series. For example, not being able to have pro settings in log is a classic one. And it's all falling on deaf ears. So I'm just, whilst I love the Autel Lite in particular, as a drone and the camera, I've decided that I'll keep the Lite and move on to other drones.
Tell me this: what made you purchase the Lite and the Lite Plus, and you also had the Nano Plus, correct?
Yeah, I had the Nano Plus. And the Nano Plus, and the Lite has the RYYB camera, and insofar as the camera performance of that RYYB camera, the dynamic range is, it's quite extraordinary.
It is, isn't it?
It's just amazing. I mean, we all talk about how good the Mavic 3 is, and there's no disputing the Mavic 3 with the 4/3 sensor is absolutely fantastic. But I would argue that the dynamic range with that RYYB sensor is as good.
Agreed. Ross, I'm with you because I only have the Nano Plus, and that's the one I exclusively take with me because it's quiet. It's slow as dirt flying, but it's okay because when you put up a mini, you were not really looking for speed. You're kind of looking more of being a little bit clandestine. You know what I mean? Nice and
Yeah.
quiet.
I mean,
Just
the
kind
Mini 3 Pro or the Mini 3s, they fly a hell of a lot better. And all the firmware capability is so much better than the Autel drone. But in terms of the camera, it's pretty special. The one thing I'd say, Al, is I've noticed with the Nano in particular scenes, you do get a bit of over sharpness, but I don't get that so much with the light, even though it's an RYYB sensor. But the only thing I can attribute that to is the pixel size is different, and
okay.
just not getting that sharpness that you get with a Nano. But look, I love all the drones. I've ordered the FIMI X8 Pro. I did actually own the X8 2018.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, and in actual fact, I was actually the first person in the world to get delivered it. And going back, I don't know, 4 years ago. And I put out these videos, and everyone was responding back. There was a flood of emails saying, "No one's got this. You're the first one." Anyway, I put up some videos. That drone was fantastic to fly, but the camera was, I'd say it was just average.
Agreed. It was always so muddy looking. You know what I mean? It was just so soft, and it just. But that thing was fast. Is fast, not was.
No,
is
it was.
fast.
I would say the X8 was as sporty to fly as the Mavic is, as sporty to fly as the Mavic 3. It's just
Agreed.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, for a camera drone, I mean, we're not talking about FPV, that's in a different league, but as a camera drone, the two best drones I've ever flown is for speed and capability, Mavic 3 Pro with hands down, and that FIMI X8 is just they're astounding drones to fly. But huge difference in the cameras for those two.
Hey, Robbie, when you get a chance, can you add my screen to the? Thank you, Robbie. All right, so Scott, we were talking about this Karen lady we met. So before I start hitting play, can you give the audience some context on what's going on here?
So this is actually the day before the drone meetup, and some of us were already there, and we decided to go to the place and see what it was going to be like. At that moment, it was pretty windy, but if you can, you like to go get your shots before everybody gets there when you get distracted. So that's kind of what we were doing. We were all there having a good time and laughing and playing, and this is what happened to us. This is my rendition of what happened to us while we were there. So
I guess that's my segue to hit play.
notice that drone going by. I didn't even know I had that. Oh, you don't play in the sound?
I would imagine at certain times, Scott, you needed air traffic control. There's that many drones in the sky.
Not at this time. Well, here's the V-copter. You're not playing the sound, Al?
You know what? I'm playing the sound, but the problem is it's coming from my speakers, and so I'm getting the feedback. So apologies. I don't. Let me see. How can we do it without me getting feedback?
Let's see the mute button. You got the mute button on.
Yeah, I did.
That's still not playing. That's all right. Well, that kind of told the story anyway.
Looks a bit windy, Scott.
It was. It was pretty windy at this time. I think we were about. We might have been getting about 20 mile an hour wind. Or well, it's about 12 with 20 mile an hour gust.
Yeah, right. And Marcus didn't lose another drone?
Nobody lost any drones at this meetup, which is the first time I think it's happened. Now, we almost had a loss. Dennis actually left his drone there, and one of the people that the last person to leave actually noticed it and went on Facebook and said, "Hey, did anybody leave their drone?"
Yeah,
And
right.
Dennis didn't even realize he'd left his. And then he said, "Boy, that looks like my bag." And sure enough, it was. And the guy came and brought it to the restaurant where we were eating at. So we didn't even lose that drone. And then I had a GoPro camera that I lost on my way down. And I just took a shot in the dark and said, "Let me call the hotel on my way back and see if anybody found it." And sure enough, I got my camera back too. So
Oh my gosh, Scott.
All good
So-
news.
yeah, it was a good meetup.
It was. Now talking about this person that found that drone, it was Nick Vita, and
Yeah, Nick Fly Days.
yeah, Fly Days, and he had a really interesting setup, didn't he?
Oh
When he
yeah,
was
the
flying
waterproof drone.
7-inch frame, and he was skipping the white caps with,
Yeah.
and he waterproofed his FPV drone and put a swimming noodle on top and strapped his GPS module on top of the swimming noodle. And I do have footage of that somewhere
What was
here.
a splash drone, Al?
Say again?
Was it a splash drone?
He made it himself. So
No, it was a homemade, complete
Yeah.
homemade. But
Okay.
today you could buy those from AliExpress is the one that I've been looking at. And it comes with the motors attached to the bottom, almost like a cine lifter, setup, but
Yeah.
without the upper motors on the second, I guess, on top of the frame. And the battery straps underneath that. So when you go in the water, of course, the battery is the heaviest. Well, maybe the frame is, but anyway, the point is that the battery is going to pull the drone down and make it upright. And then
Yeah.
you got the noodle on top. Let me see if I can find those videos. But
he actually was the hero of this South Florida drone meetup.
I agree, he was.
That would have been a big loss right there.
Yeah, it was the Mavic 3.
Yeah.
And he said with
grand.
everything that was in the bag, it was probably about a $4,000 loss.
Yeah, it was about $4,000 because he had what, 4 batteries, and all of his filters.
Camera accessories.
Yeah, and he usually has the Insta360 accessories
Right.
in that bag too. So yeah, it would have been a huge loss. I mean, I couldn't believe he did that, but what are you gonna do?
Guys, sorry I was late this morning. I got my hours mixed up. We've been working late here at the office, and
No doubt a stinking hot day in Thailand, Rob.
it's been
And
like
did you,
over
uh,
100.
Did you enjoy your Songkran festivities, or is that all over now?
No, yeah, it actually finished yesterday. So, and it's
Yes.
really strange because it's like it starts on the 13th, and it's supposed to be like their New Year. I'm like, it's just so different than what I'm used to. It's kind of like an extended Mardi Gras. And
Yeah, it's-
you've experienced them for years before.
Yeah, I've been to Songkran many times. It's madness, but a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find that video of that interview I had with Nick of his setup. You guys continue on, man.
Okay, I'm gonna look and see if I can find. I've got some video here I can add. Here, let me see what it's-
I definitely am. So, Scotty, I was flying under this bridge that has water underneath it, and I freaking hit the bridge and landed on this, like, upside down, and the drone didn't even get wet, but I was like, now I got to get it back out. I got a video of that, too. It was...
Well, did you get it, or is it still there?
Yeah, I got it, man. Let me...
Okay.
All right, that video, I know where it's at, so I can quickly find that. That one I can get my fingertips on it pretty fast. Let's say DJI goggles, Innsbruck. Yeah, Innsbruck Lakes under the bridge. And let's see what it comes up with. Here's the crash. So what I'm gonna cue this up here in a minute, Robbie, and I'll get
Okay.
ready.
We'll resume this tomorrow morning, Al. when
What's
you
that?
found it. We'll resume this podcast tomorrow morning when you found the video. I'm joking.
Good point, man. Touche. Yeah. So it takes a little bit sometimes. We just kind of flying wild today. It seems like.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
I do have it queued up here. Robbie, you might be able to remember this location once you share it. I don't know. Can you recognize this at all?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's over behind the office buildings we went to.
Yeah. So this is a pretty nice location to fly from. The lakes aren't big enough, but see this little bridge right here that I'm kind of casing that trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And then I'm like, why is this thing flying so funny? The wind blew me right into the trees, but it was acting really funny. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Well, I didn't have it on acro mode. I had it in stabilized mode. You can
Yeah.
see my other buddy's drone. He just finished running this. And see, it didn't want to do my rolls, and now once I put it in, I'm like, okay, now game on. So finally got it all figured out that what I did wrong. So the idea is to go under the bridge, shoot up over the lake, and do something stupid, and then don't go in the water, and then come back out. And so yeah, just simple stuff what we're gonna do. Um,
Pretty location.
Yeah, it's pretty decent, nice location. It's a really, really nice area. And it's always nice to fly with somebody here because there's always people walking around. And so we want to, have somebody spot you. All right, so I finally decided that I'm warmed. Oof! Did you see that one, Scott?
Yeah.
We almost hit midair. All right, so finally I was like, okay, I got it dialed in. I think I could do this. I got this, right? And so I decided, like, okay, now I'm just going to dive in from the other side. And when I did, you'll notice the mistake that I made right here. I just decided to dive in and pulled up too early. And that's where I ended up laying on upside down. But luckily, it landed on the battery, not on the frame, and no water got into my electronics.
Wow.
Doesn't look like too much water's flowing through there either.
So I got lucky in that sense because, yeah. So this is the spillway. And,
Sorry, I lost you there. Go ahead.
That's okay. We're done with it. So you can crush it.
Sorry, I thought I could bring it in and it pulled it up over yours.
No, that's all right.
This is where we had our festival here, and I just took a couple of shots now. My flying's not good here, and if y'all look around, I think you'll understand pretty quick why.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I don't have any music
Sun
through
grind.
this. Yeah, dude, there's
That's madness.
I don't know what the deal is. This country be rich if they didn't have all the cable hanging from the poles. Because, dude, it's like, look, dude, it's everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's a cable somewhere. But you can see the road is wet. So people are standing along each side of the road and throwing water on anybody that drives by. Most of the people have got like huge squirt guns where they're squirting. Now, keep in mind, it's about 100 degrees or 101 at the time they actually had this. And I should have put a lighter ND filter on here because I think I had like a 32 on here at the time, which was true.
Oh yeah, you're making that sensor work real hard.
Yeah, but I have to fly high here because there's literally, you'll see in a minute when I come down, everywhere you look, there's actual cables coming off the poles. And I mean, it's like silly string in some of the areas it's there. But
What
yeah,
you need? Oh, I see. So you were flying. What are you flying?
this is Mini 3 Pro.
Okay. And that's
Heard many stories, Rob, of people on motorbikes where they get thrown a bucket of water and they fall off their bikes and they end
Yeah.
up in hospital. That's quite a common story in Songkran.
I was trying to be real. I was trying to be real careful. I was trying to fly like on the left side sidewalk where all those cars are to stay off the road because I had a policeman across the street directing traffic, and he was kind of glancing, and I was like, because you don't need to be directly over the road, but because of where it's at, it's not on the main interstate. Most of them really don't say anything about it. It's a gray line here when you fly, but I didn't have really any issues of flying here. I wanted
And
to
the
show it.
police are usually covered in water and the clay powder as well. They're,
Oh, yeah.
they're in on it as well.
Yeah, we were in the back of the pickup truck before this, and we went by, and the kids were like squirting the police guys on the motorcycles. Like, don't squirt those. We need those guys here, because you can see the groups of people on the side of the road.
Yeah.
I mean, we had two groups. A group from Myanmar, and that's the country next to us. Man, I'm telling you, they were like partying their butt off. They were so drunk. They were across the street, and a guy walked over, and I was flying my FPV, and he walked over with a cold bottle of water and opened the back of my shirt and poured it in. And I had to think about where my gear was on me, so I didn't get wet. I was like, please, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's
But
more.
I mean,
Rob, it's more when they have those buckets of waters with these great big huge blocks of ice, and they throw this ice cold water on you, and now that wakes you up.
I bet.
Yeah, there were a couple that we went by that threw in, a couple gallons of like frozen water. And let me tell you, 2 or 3 of them hit me, and your body shock from being 100 degrees. I had been here at the office downstairs with the doors open because they don't have the AC in yet working. So I was like already overheated, and just to go from that hot to that cold so quick. So that's a policeman there in the truck, and some other ones up there. But let me switch videos here.
It's only a small village too, Rob. I mean, in Bangkok and Pattaya, it's the streets are just thousands and thousands of people in the streets.
Yeah. So they keep these swimming pools. Of course, the kids jump in them, but they're pulling water from those. Some of the guys have got like hose pipes out there. I mean, it was pretty fun. It was my first one here in the country, because the other 2 years I was here, I was not in country during that time. But anyway, that's enough of my stuff. We're here to have our
Songkran's a bit of fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I would have liked to gone down to Pattaya with you if you been. You weren't here, were you?
I was here. I was in Pattaya last week.
Okay, yeah, I knew when I
Sold a condo
contacted you
there.
that you'd already come back.
It was very hot, to say the least. But to be quite honest, I've done Songkran in Pattaya before, and I must admit, you do it once or twice, and then you're a little bit over it. It's just.
I bet it's extreme in that area.
Yeah, there's Songkran in your villages and so on, and then there's Songkran in Pattaya, and Pattaya is just madness. Absolutely.
It's the adult version of Carnival.
And on the big day is the 19th. What's that, tomorrow, or whatever day it is? The big day in Pattaya is the 19th, and
Oh, really?
and the streets are shut. There's literally hundreds of thousands of people in the streets. It's a lot of fun, but then towards the end of the day, it turns into a drunken mess. So
A big party, huh?
that's the time to get off the streets.
Yeah, absolutely. Al, I sent you a link for a video.
Okay, give me a second.
For Ross. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, our ice cream gets delivered on Saturday for the store downstairs. I was like, man, I sure would have been nice to have it there when I was working.
Okay, I got it queued up here.
Okay.
Do you want the volume or no volume? Well, the volume's going to end up coming through my speaker and
Yeah,
back.
it's okay.
Yeah, here we go. Oh. All right, hang on a second. I did something wrong. Here we go.
Well,
You don't want to see
Yeah.
my ugly face. I waffle for about a minute. This is a lake about an hour from the city of Brisbane. It's part of the water grid for our city, and we just struck a really good morning. That's the light in my hand there. But we had an Evo 2 Pro, and we also had the Mavic 3 flying on that day. Oh, and the Nano.
So, what do you have? The camera on a gimbal or phone?
No, I've got one of those Pivos, just on a tripod.
Oh, you got one of those. That looks like.
It's like a follow me unit on a tripod, and you just put
It
your
looks like a
mobile phone
pocket,
in it.
right?
Yeah, you just throw your mobile phone in a little unit on a tripod, and it follows you.
Oh, okay. You're talking about like the Mobile 3, Mobile 4, Mobile 6 now. The Osmo mobiles. Gotcha.
Yeah, there's the Mavic 3. And anyway, when we were there, we struck well, I don't know what you call it, a group of kangaroos that were inquisitive. So I filmed those as well.
Wow, pretty.
So it was a really pretty morning that day. But in and around the city where I live, there's the kangaroos.
Are they dangerous?
They're not very smart animals. They've got a peanut-sized brain. They're pretty dumb.
Ross, are they dangerous though? I mean, do they come to you if they see you or what?
No, most of the time they'll hop away. It's only the big bucks, if they're breeding, that they'll treat you as a threat. They come up to you and they'll stand on their tail and kick their their bottom feet, and they just rub their what do you call it? Their nails down the front of you. So if you didn't have a thick shirt on, they can rip you apart by doing that. So,
Yeah, that's a pretty shot.
Yeah, it is. I love the mountains in the background. That's the thing about Thailand. Though. Look how neat the property is here. In Thailand, it's like everything's overgrown. We got the mountains, but everything else is like overgrown. If someone's got to spend money to weed eat, it's just not happening here.
Yeah, the 2032 Olympics are coming to our city, and this lake is where they're doing the rowing for the Olympics.
Oh wow, that's nice. Very nice. Well, you also have the World Cup coming in to New Zealand and Australia here in like 90 days.
Is that the ladies
Yeah,
World Cup?
the women are playing, and there's a big debate now about that because Saudi Arabia and Qatar are sponsoring it, and they have like really bad issues with women rights. So a bunch of the athletes are writing open letters to FIFA, the soccer federation.
FIFA's good. FIFA's good for money, Al.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow,
this is
why
nice.
did Qatar get the World Cup?
So did you do that circle in manual mode, or did you put it in?
Well, that last shot was an orbit. Yeah.
Was it an orbit? Not okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, anyway, well, there's the silly kangaroos again.
Wow.
They're like squirrels, man. Here in the U.S., they're everywhere.
These are grey kangaroos. The big kangaroos are the red kangaroos out in the deserts. They'll stand 2 or 3 meters high. The big bucks, and they're built like weightlifters. They're with their shoulders here. They're dangerous. The red kangaroos.
Yeah, I bet you they really have to battle out there to keep their
It's funny
territory.
here. I'm sure when you look at them, it's not a big deal because you see them all the time. But for us, when we see them, it's like, oh, I was reading an article one time, and a couple decided they were going to move to like Vermont. They're like, oh, we moved to Vermont because we want to be near nature. And they went there and they wrote their kids a letter and they said, hey, we were out today. We saw 2 deer in the front yard and it started to snow. It was just beautiful. And then they sent another letter 3 or 4 days later to the kids and said, well, we've seen like 10 deer in the front yard now, and it's really started to snow. And then the next letter said, kids, we had to go to the store because it was snowing so hard we were running out of food and we hit a damn deer. It got worse and worse and worse, and finally they were like, the deer everywhere, we're out of food, we're moving back home.
So I was reading your comment there, Scott. So a lot of people have been having problems with their Sandus.
No, but isn't that the subject of the show? And I also saw that Jim Beauchart was asking earlier what a disc to use or whatever. So I know most of us use the V30. Anyway, so I was kind of weeding that in there.
Yeah, let's talk about that because that's why we're here. Let me bring something up here.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Extreme Pro from Sandisk. The black and red.
Yeah, I got some of those too.
But the red and gold are just as good. I think that one's just the Extreme. But they're U3 V30, so they should be able to hold up. The problem what we see in Amazon and stuff is that some of those are not really that. I think somebody's been just printing Sandisk stuff and sticking it on there.
Yeah, imitation.
Yeah, I don't know if I bought mine from Amazon, but every one that I've had has worked fine. I haven't had any problems with it. But I did switch over to the Pro as well. So,
hey, Al, check that file I sent you. You can bring that up.
I'll see. I'll do that now. Hang on. I got it downloaded.
I think Jim Beauchart, he's got a new Avata.
Oh, good for him. Was that the one that Alexis gave him? Or?
Yeah, Alexis gave it to him, and then Max got him some goggles for it because she didn't have the goggles with it.
Oh, okay. So,
and I don't
why
know.
is he?
I don't know if Barkley had anything to do with it as well. He may have.
Why is he on the donation gravy train?
No, but he had a drone, and it crashed. And I know, I'm pretty sure he got a Mini too. But Alexis is just that way. She liked him, said, here's a drone. He didn't ask for it. She gave it to him. So.
Sorry about that, Ross. Robbie asked me to put this up here for us. Am I sharing the screen correctly, Robbie?
No.
Let's see here. You'll have to add it to the.
Okay, hold on here. Let me get the.
All right. Let me see. Can I just add the file?
Here we go. Yeah, just upload from there.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So, Robbie, you want to take it from here?
Well, actually, Ross had put this out and sent it to me last night. So these are the settings because, when you start looking, and even some of the stuff that I've done out switching on the 3D printer, some of the 3D printers don't take particular ones and they forget to put the settings on the actual card. So I like it the way this is laid out where it kind of points and explains. I mean, the branding and the capacity is not a big issue, but as far as the HSV class, and the application performance, it's nice the way this is laid out so you can actually look and see. Now, my question on this, and I'll ask Ross because I know he can answer it, what is the interference set up for? Because I see interference is set at 1, is that right?
You're talking about the interface?
The interface.
I'll pass on that, Rob. I don't know.
Okay. So we got the video speed class is 30. And the card type is micro SD, which is not an issue there, but application performance class A2. So I guess the big question here is you're wanting it to be the HSV class?
Yes.
I know I always look for the video speed and the V30 and the U3 or That's what
Yeah.
I usually look for.
Yeah, you've got to have a U3, and your video speed. I think that is more relevant to your bit rate and the amount of resolution you're filming in. If you get into some real high resolution, your V30 won't cut it, or if you've got a really high bit rate.
Uh-huh.
So
My
what?
understanding is you'd need to go higher than a V30.
So what is
Yeah,
the
and
pro-
you can go to Extreme Pro and it'll bump it up, and that's what I use on my Mavic 2 Pro. And I imagine, what are you using on the Mavic 3 Pro, Ross?
Mavic 3 Pro. I can't remember, to be quite honest. The only time I only pull it out and throw it in the computer and do editing. I never look at the card, but I'm pretty sure it's similar to this card that's actually on the picture here.
Yeah, let me pull mine out. That's actually a good question. Let me take a
I
look.
just pulled mine out and dropped it on the floor.
Oh, geez.
Well, I know a lot of guys.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing the same thing I'm doing, Scott. So did you
Here you
find it?
go.
I'll have a look.
Can you enlarge Scott there? We get a chance.
Yeah. How do you make it? How do you make it focus?
Put your hand behind it
Hold on, I'm trying to
and
make
move your hand back a little bit. There you go. Almost there. All right. All you, Robbie. Make Scott bigger.
I am. Hold on one second here.
Okay.
you go.
You back it up.
Back
You
up
back
just a little
it up.
bit,
You
Scott.
back it up. The camera. What are you using? Almost there. What's
It's
your
not-
camera, Scott?
It's not going to do it. It's a Logitech, whatever that is.
922.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's got. I call it red and black. When I see him, I look for red and black or red and gold.
I'm going to pull mine out now, Scott, and maybe we get.
Yeah, I guess that camera's not that good, is it? I never tried that before.
What does it say on there? Scan dish what? Extreme?
It's
what?
Extreme Pro. It's still got the U30, and it's still got the V30. So I don't really see what's different than that one's showing right there, except for it says Pro beside it.
That's what I'm using on the Mavic 3.
Okay, so you're using
So
extreme.
it's virtually exactly the same as
That's
what's in that photo, apart from the
Yeah.
storage capacity.
Yeah, I use the same one. I use the same one you're using, Ross, in all my stuff.
Okay, so Robbie, I'm gonna. Hopefully, this thing will focus.
You know,
There
there's
we go. Yeah, Extreme Pro. Okay.
Yeah, there's absolutely no difference between the markings on the chip except for the Pro.
Yeah.
Except for
There-
the Pro.
Yeah, they're exactly the same. Every other marking is exactly the same.
It sure is.
Wow.
Enough of that. Let me take a look to see if I see anything different. As we get older, our eyesight just gets so bad.
I just put mine under the microscope, and
Yeah.
It's exactly the same except for the word Pro.
Exactly the same except for the word Pro. You pay more for this. I think that
Yeah, you do.
it's got a. If you're going to scan this website, you will actually get a spreadsheet with all the different kind of performance numbers on it. And I used to know them, but it got to a point you're like, it's kind of like useless information I needed that it doesn't need to take up space in my mind. For.
The only thing you need to worry about is if it works or it doesn't work.
Exactly. It's like, why am I cluttering my brain with this?
Well, I think on the SanDisk, people probably don't have as much issues because a lot of people that were buying Kingston used to sell a lot of these. But the problem is there's so many copies for Kingston, whether it be this or a regular USB drive for the computer. It's like it's a hit or miss on where you buy them, whether or not if you get a deal at a discount place, they're fake. And the way you can tell is go in and check the format size. You can, when you first get it, when you format it, look. So if it says it's a 32 or a 64 or 128, and it doesn't actually format that, it's fake. That's how I found out. I actually switched and I started using these Lexars. And I like the Lexar because it's got a fingerprint built into it, fingerprint reader. So when I put it in, without that fingerprint, if I were to lose it and somebody find it, they have a rough time getting into it. I'm sure there's a way to get in, and it was a little. I bought it at Office Max in the U.S.
That's a microchip.
Good idea.
Yeah, it's actually got a fingerprint built into it, a fingerprint reader. And this one's just this small. It's 32 gig, and I'll keep basic files and stuff. I don't really keep any videos or anything on it. But it's pretty neat because you just plug it in, it flashes, and you just put your thumb on it, and then the drive actually opens up.
All right, Robbie, I'm going to share my screen with you. I found kind of interesting video that this guy was testing how well this thing. Oh,
I saw that.
Right, you can stop it. But don't do this to an FPV. Don't put your fingers in the FPV drone.
I'll tell you one thing, it must be a hell of a pencil because anytime mine's hit anything, it's eat it up.
Yeah, he's holding up tight, hard too. All right,
He has to be.
And this is my feed that I have. So I started doing a lot of shorts lately. And I'm kind of digging it because of the fact that it has a different. Here's my video, Scott, of the South Florida drone meetup. That chase, we were chasing a plane. You'll see Matty, man. He almost hits me like 3 times.
Yeah.
He almost.
At one point, there were 6 drones chasing that plane.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
and here he comes again in the shot. And I'm like, I know how this is going to fly. I know how a 5-inch drone is not going to, you whomp on it too hard, and you're past your shot, like he is right there. See
I
it?
saw you make the best transition to that you were flying your 4-inch this time instead of your 5-inch.
Correct, yeah. And I had the camera mounted vertically. So I had the GoPro Bones mounted on my quad vertically. So it is now I'll stop sharing. Yeah, so this guy now is basically, all it is doing shots for shorts. Okay?
So that's the only reason why you did it vertical.
Because this is my shorts video as an example. So yeah, exactly. This is it's actually a Baby Hawk frame, but everything else is homemade.
What sort of flight time do you get out of that one, Al?
What's that?
What sort of flight time do you get out of?
This one with the GoPro Bones on it, I get 5 minutes solid 5 minutes, which is pretty good for an FPV. The ones you see behind me over here, if I get out of the way, and the ones you see on those are getting 4 minutes, but we're talking hefty motors. And,
I was gonna say, if you glide and surf, you can get up to 7 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do tricks and stuff, you usually drop down to 3 to 5 minutes.
Easy, right?
As opposed to the DJI Avata and so on, what sort of flight times do they get?
20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a different kind of flight too. I mean, we're talking.
You need a break after 3 to 5 minutes, so.
Yeah.
And you usually have another battery right there, so you can go right back up. So
yeah.
So we had an interesting flight with you, Scott. Remember when you came down and we found all the pieces in a parking lot?
Well, you actually taught me something. You taught me something because that drone, before I even took it down there, I said, man, that thing kind of just took off, and I don't know why. And the only thing I can figure is through time, I got some compression, and my strap started hitting the gyro, which you taught me. But I took off there, and the same thing. That thing started flying away. Well, I just killed the motor immediately because I knew where I was, and it came crashing down. And I wasn't even gonna look for parts, but we ended up finding every part that fell off that thing. A screw came off, a cap off the antenna came off, and something, a broke prop, and we found absolutely every bit of it. So. But you know, I mean, when you fly carbon fiber, that's not a big deal. But it happened to me at the hotel as well.
Yeah,
And I thought I had parked that drone so I wouldn't pick it up again, and I accidentally picked it up again, and I had to immediately shut it down. So
yeah, that was an interesting flight, no doubt about it. But I just finished 3D printing this today. This is the vertical mount. I'm sorry, yeah, horizontal mount for the bones that'll go on.
so Al, why don't you do post video into vertical? I mean, why don't you just leave it landscape mode and then change it to a vertical mode for shorts? I know, yeah, I know that subject came up. I don't know, last night somewhere, and I know somebody asked Chris Waters to, hey, why don't you show how you do shorts post? And he does it off the computer, because a lot of people are saying, oh, well, if you do it off your phone, it automatically do it. So, but I did see, I think while this show was on, maybe he posted a video that's going to show you how to do that.
All right, yeah. So here's the deal with that one. So let's say you're shooting 16 by 9, and you end up. I'll see if I can find it. I was just doing a test.
It'll crop down, and I guess you got to keep it in the.
Yeah, and
But can't you move that though? You can't move it.
You can in post,
but your picture moves too, so you don't always have that in the right place.
Yeah, so I'll cue this up here, Robbie.
Okay.
And let me see. I'm going to share a file. Share a file this time. Video file. Yeah, this should be better this way.
Ross, the stuff I printed for you, did it work?
Certainly did. Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. I don't even know what it was I printed.
Yeah, it's unbreakable. You print it in that carbon.
Carbon fiber was stiff,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can 3D print carbon fiber?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's actually a mix, and I use a mix of PETG and carbon fiber. And dude, it's solid. I mean, it's
But
solid.
it does not give. It snaps.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
You
so
got
it'll snap right off. That's the only downside to it. Unlike the carbon frames that we see in our frames here,
Yeah,
they'll
because
give
it's a
bit.
weave, basically.
They'll delaminate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
When you 3D print it, they just snap. And without the PETG in it, it would even be more brittle than it is.
Yeah.
So be careful with that, Ross. That's the only thing about it. Is a brittle. It's a brittle product. It's kind of like if you're a woodworker, you would compare it to an oak that is brittle compared to the maple where it can bend.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it still get the strength. All right.
What I made was thick for him, so it should be pretty solid. But does your printer print carbon fiber? Will the hot end get hot enough? I know Brad's will.
No, I don't have the what is it, Enders 5, or I don't have the.
You gotta have a hot, Scott. You gotta have a hot, good hot
Yeah.
end to go in order to
My
print.
max temperature would be like 260, and you need to be about 300 degrees
Right.
C to print carbon
And
fiber.
you will
All right,
go
Robbie,
through.
in the queue is a video that Scott, you were asking about vertical.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is when you turn it sideways, you would have to make everybody conform to your silliness to turn it sideways. At the end of this video, so you would have to make everybody turn their phone sideways or stop the horizontal to be able to do that. You see what I'm saying? Now, if I were to put it in there, like, again, I would chop off all that.
Yeah, because if it was rotated around, you're just going to get the center part of that screen.
That's it.
So it gets cropped in is what happens.
Yeah, so watch at the end of this video. I dive in. I came in through the trees. Let me show you. I was flying this this Azalea Park, and I was just having a good time cruising. And this is 1 in a million shots coming up here, Scott. I'll show it to you here in a second. All right, so I'm going to dive in through that canopy here and try not to hit anything. And I was doing just fine, and all of a sudden I'm like, wham, what happened?
What in the world was that?
All right, let me show you. I'm going to go ahead and stop the
Freeze
share.
frame. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to, you have to kill it. I'm going to do another file, Robbie, and this one's going to show it in slow-mo, mid-air collision. Here it is.
If you look close, you can see the squatch you grabbed.
This one is, you'll see it in slow-mo this time. Present video file. This one is called short mid-air collision. I'll Be Drone. That's who I ran into. The channel's name is I'll Be Drone, and it's
Dano
McPeak.
Hear that video? Wow. Yeah, you can definitely see it in that one.
You see it in that one, right?
Yeah.
And
Any
what are the
damage?
chances of that happening? I mean, I just came out of a wild dive in through the canopy and started my run again. And man,
Was there any damage?
no damage at all. Here's the
just-
one I'm going to give you a sneak peek. I'm going to release Saturday. Present file again. This is the one I'm going to release Saturday coming up.
So Ross, when you heading back over this way?
Well, I told you I sold those units over there. So I don't wish to have a Thai bank holding my money. So I need to reinvest in another piece of property over there. So I will be over in the next month. But it'll probably just be for a short trip to sort out the settlement.
Well, good for you, Ross.
Always enjoy
Wish
going
you
to
the best.
You should know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not
what's-
sure. Probably in July. Probably head back to the U.S. June, July, right in that range, and be there for a little bit, maybe a month or two, depending, and then head back this way. But we're trying to get we've got an ice cream store going in downstairs, and we're trying to get everything done. And it's really hard you can buy appliances, but like when you go to get countertops and stuff like that, they've got all this paper mache. It looks nice until you touch it. You know, it's like Chinese, it's like this. So we had to order all the materials in, and I've tried to play the best carpenter I can to get the stuff done. But I got to get this up and going before I can leave, because I can't just throw it and leave her by herself, because we have employees that are going to be doing the work. We just build it. We don't do the work.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why it's pixelating that bad there. This is kind of neat because you see the shadows of the tree. I'm not sure why it's pixelating that bad. It really doesn't like it. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to bore everybody. There we go.
Hey, I got a question about that video. Where the hell did you get that music?
Oh, that one? The Spanish guitar?
I I knew it wasn't Dennis because
I was a video editor, not a composer.
That video, that music just doesn't go with that video. I agree.
It had the tone right.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
guys.
was YouTube Music. That's
Yeah.
the beta version that they have out there. What do they call it? The Creator package, Music Creator.
The free package.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Because the freaking music bed that I've been using has been pissing me off, and I'm going to get rid of them. They're going to start whining and complaining that I got to take down all the videos with their. Um,
Start with the letter E.
and I'm just going to give them the letter F,
Okay.
and then just say, well, have fun trying to get revenue out of this, and you're not.
Well,
So-
one thing, guys, that I guess new people coming into YouTube and people posting videos and stuff like that. There's certain stuff that you just gotta buy. I mean, I'm sure there's some free basic stuff out there. I mean, the services that we pay for, we can pretty much get what we want. We can get a video up faster. So I guess it's a saying of if you want to save a little money and go for the free stuff and do double the time work to get it done. But by the time you're paying for music, and then you need, I mean, in most cases, you need a video editor, and then you're going to need something to edit images, to do thumbnails and stuff like that. Like I'll use SnapUp for my thumbnails. But I'll tell you, they've got there's a program in Office that I found, and I think it's like Video Chimp is what it's called, to do video editing, just basic stuff, nothing major. But it comes in the Microsoft Office package that's in there. So I was using Premiere Pro before, but like 20 or 30 bucks a month. So for people that are on a budget that are looking to do stuff, now I did download DaVinci after talking to Ross, but we really have to like have a bunch of different little pieces of software in order to create what we do to put on YouTube. It's not, you got to work if you want to do it free. You got to download this program and do this, and it makes the job harder. But and those companies get you because it's like being in the web design field. We will buy so many names for companies, their domain names, and every month we get all these people, hey, you got to buy your domain name. They've doubled the price each year, and then you call them, and it's just that no matter what you do with these companies, half of them, when you cancel it, they still bill you. They will continue to bill. I've had them continue to bill me to the point where I've had to actually change cards in situations. So it's the new people coming in, you really need to talk to people that know the software and find out what level you're at when you're new. Do you got the money to invest in the photo editing, the music, this and that, so you don't get copyrights? Or do you have computer savvy where you know how to go out and download all the programs and make it work through there? Because it is a part of what we have to do as creators to put this stuff on. It's not like a live stream. We turn it on.
Or you're a musician and create your own music.
That's true. I used to see people that we'd see a video and it'd say custom music by, because they'd have a friend that does music. Man, I'll tell you one thing, they're pretty, now look at it, damn, they're smart because it's hard to find the right music.
We just got to get Dennis to get better.
Yeah, have him do everything. Yeah.
Rob, there was a video I put out 2 days ago, and I used the Filmora where it has an AI beat sync.
Uh-huh.
So you download all your video files and select the music, and it just does an AI and just crops the videos with the beats of the music. So you double check that, then you put it down for editing, but it makes light work of a hard day, so to speak. So that last video at Bribey Island was using that. That video took me 10 minutes to put together, because I use that music sync.
It works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. But I guess you can go in there and modify it too, which I've not looked into too much. But yeah, you're right. When it works, it's fast and easy.
Yeah. And like you said, you have to change all those parameters on it, right? When to cut and when not to cut. And once you get it dialed in, you're okay. But then you got a different video, and then you're like, oh no, I
Yeah.
got to dial it in again.
I did one, and it
It-
just totally messed up the whole video. I said, nope, that's not going to work.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I know I use VSTC Pro, and they have that feature too. And man, I think you spend more time dialing in the settings than getting the video produced, you know. But sometimes, like Ross said, sometimes it hits.
yeah,
right.
the one I got was really good. I like the way it did it. And,
Yeah, I had a laziness stuck on the top of my head 2 days ago, so I just dialed that in, and away I went. I said, "There you go. There's a video. Download that."
You're done with it. Cut. That's a take.
Exactly. Hey guys, look, we've run over our time. Hell, I was late in. Now I'm late out. I'll try to be on better time weeks when we come back. And then Al, of course, will have the Duranified show in this place next week. But just to let everybody know, we are back up for every 2 weeks with the World Drone Community. We'll be here and being able to get some different people on, get some good content in. And Ross, I really appreciate you coming in such a short notice. And Jack Rabbit, you also, buddy, I'll tell you, when I knew you because you're in our groups and everything else, but when you filled in for the morning show, you were just funnier than hell. I just like, he's so good with like, check out this song, bringing the music in and everything else. I was like, man, this kind of guy's skill. He must have been a DJ or something.
DJ quality, man.
well, I'll be honest. I had no idea what I was going to do, and I knew I couldn't sing, and I knew I couldn't play an instrument. So I came up with that idea, and I mean, my only other thing was I said, look, I'm just going to have fun with this, and I expect a disaster, which I think almost every show I had, I did have. I started getting better at the end, but man, it is hard work, and until you do it, people don't understand what's all involved, especially when you're sitting there trying to think ahead and communicate with everybody in the chat. It's difficult. So
yeah, you got to get all of the buttons, but you grow so much doing it, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'll be honest, I had never live streamed before, and I guess I use Prism. I didn't know anything about that, so I did a crash course on how to live stream. Had to learn how to set it up, and I think I got it set up one time, and one of my disasters was I ended up losing it all. And so I had nothing again. And I had to ad-lib pretty good. Another time I came in, I couldn't get my drone to go up to do the sunrise. So I was like, what in the world am I going to do this time? But I had done it the day before, so I had the idea. So, okay, well, I'm going to go put my camera on yesterday's sunrise and play a fake video of it and then see if anybody catches it. And then I'll let everybody know at the end that I did this. But luckily enough, I spent the whole time videotaping it and everything. And then I got my drone to work just before it happened. So I was able to go live. So
you were lip syncing, right? Or lip
man, I was panicking. I mean, I literally was, on that show I said never give up, and I showed the the frog grabbing the heron's neck, and
that's right.
But
it was really entertaining, and that came to thought, and I was like, you know what, we got to get Scott on here because y'all are You're in our group, Ross. You're in our group, even though you're on the other side of the world like me. I'm on the other side of the world too. But it's always nice to get guys in here, be able to share stuff, our experiences, what we've learned, to save time for everybody, especially the new people coming in. And we learn so much off of each other so many times. That's what makes the community so special. So.
The guys that come in now have it easier than go 4 or 5 years earlier, and
you
had to scrap and learn and look all different places. I came in on the FPV side because I actually was going to buy a camera drone. I was doing my research, and what is this FPV? And I fell into that, and I said, forget that. I don't want a camera to go work. I want to have a camera to go play. And and man, I didn't know how to do anything. I bought blind one day, anyway, and got my drone, and I didn't even know how to fly it or anything, and but I figured it out, and man, it is so much fun. I have a blast doing it. So, and I have my camera drones now too. So that's the problem. You can't buy just one.
I
Well,
know.
it's funny because you got Al and Scott, which are FPV masters.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Al knows the camera
FPV
stuff.
over here.
Yeah.
And then you
Camera
got
over
me
here.
and Ross over here, which are camera guys, which I don't have that much knowledge on the camera like Ross does, but we're like split in the middle. We're GPS guys. You're FPV guys, or both. So it's kind of a good mix.
Well, you need skills in each set too, whether you're FPV or whether you're camera. And my camera skills are not very good on the camera side. I watch what you guys do with those videos, and I mean it's an art. But what I find out is when I go fly my camera drone, I want to fly it like FPV, which can be dangerous.
I know.
You know,
I know.
on the
man.
camera side, it takes so much time to learn because you actually have to do your video and then watch it afterwards and say, wow, should have I used a different ND or should have I changed my lighting or position? So it's a lot different. Where the FPV, you're just out there kind of doing your thing.
You're out to have fun.
Exactly.
So
Robbie, you bring another element into it too. Once you start mounting cameras on top.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to get your camera dialed in.
Yep.
One of the things you never do with the GoPro is let it set auto exposure. You do not want it have it set to auto frame rate, any of that, or any of your auto white balance. So what you do is you point it at the clouds. Okay, you get your app on your phone and you start dialing it in so the clouds actually show up. And then that's the setting. And then that way your ISO's locked down, your exposure's locked down, your frame rate's locked down, and your white balance is locked down. And everything else, it will look right.
the only other thing you have to do is make sure you set your camera angle at the right rate as where you fly. Otherwise, you'll be pointing at the sky or pointing at the ground. So that's important too.
And I highly recommend 60 frames per second on the FPV stuff. And shooting 4K. And shooting 4.3 instead of 16.9.
Yeah, YouTube loves compression, loves 60K. 60 frames, sorry.
Yes.
60 frames per second. The compression
Hey,
loves.
I'm gonna give y'all a tip. When you switch to slow-mo, make sure you forget to turn it back off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then you come back and you're like,
the whole video, and I was like, oh God, I just felt like,
yeah.
I've been recording in slow-mo the whole damn day.
Well, I've made almost every mistake you can make. I at South Florida drone meetup, I put it on the 15-second clips. I'm sitting there thinking I'm filming, and all I got is little 15-second clips. And then the other time, I actually put it on hyperlapse, and everything's just going crazy. So I've made all the mistakes before.
Yeah, we have to agree. Yeah.
My POS button, I hit it, and I thought I was recording. Then I took a picture. I didn't have my volume. I didn't hear that it took a picture, so I'm thinking I'm filming, and I'm like, crap. So then I double, hold it down to get it to switch over from video to pictures. And then I hit the button and I realized that I'm not even recording. I'm flying around wasting my time. But it's just stuff that you got to pay attention to and you got to learn. And with the FPV, it moves just so damn fast that, my area here, I got to be in like a really wide open area, or I'm gonna hit a cable or something like that. Trust me. If a drone fell in the U.S., like me and Al went one time, and his actually fell in a roundabout, and luckily it didn't hit a car. If a drone started to come down here, Ross, you will agree with me. If the Thai people here saw a drone coming down, I think they'd drive under it if they knew a foreigner was flying it. Because they gonna collect over here. They collect over here.
Yeah.
High liability, huh?
Hey, Scott.
Yes, sir.
And Robbie, let me see. House of Refuge. I thought I was doing this really epic shot and talking about
I actually seen this.
an epic shot. You're talking about the slow-mo thing, Robbie?
Yeah.
Yep. I got to see this right after he shot it.
Hey, that looks like Alan.
I shot this whole thing in slow-mo, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with you? And you can see that all the settings were wrong and everything. And, it would have been a really nice shot with all the water coming out.
Like say, you got some wave action. It looked pretty good.
Yeah, you can see the wave action looks nice, but everything else is just wrong.
Is that a drone?
Yeah.
Is that a drone behind you up there?
No, that's a bird.
It's a bird, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so damn slow. It looked like it's a drone or something.
That's a tired bird.
That's a tired bird. Yeah, so
You couldn't edit the highlights. You couldn't edit the highlights and shadows in that shot, Al?
yeah, we could fly at FPV. It'd be great, right?
Al, do you remember the first time when you were teaching me how to do the slow mo? Do you remember where we were and who we videoed?
Wasn't that you riding a bike? No.
Nope. Before then, it was the same day that you flew that kid's Mini. We had a new young guy.
Yeah.
He was practicing videoing. I guess his major was in video. He was down on the ground doing all this, and I was like, "Hey, let me show you how to fly your drone." This guy was a newbie. He probably picked it up an hour before. Al takes it and flies it over the train tracks like you couldn't even see where it was going. This little boy, I looked at him. He was but we were actually in the car by the water, and you remember the girl that ran track, the black girl that ran track?
Yeah.
Her muscles in her legs. It was her and her boyfriend. They were running sprints. That was the first time I learned to use the slow-mo. And Al was doing the settings for me, man. When that girl would run, because I mean, she had like super strong body, the muscles in her legs when she was running. I fell in love with the slow-mo with that video that we took, because you could see, Scott, Ross, you could see every movement in this girl's body because she was freaking built.
I hadn't tried slow motion yet.
Yep. Just remember to change your setting after you
As you get
stop
older,
video.
you'll discover it.
Oh yeah, I know about slow motion. Yeah. I'm putting a roof on our house right now, and we're putting a metal roof on. And you think, well, I'll get this much done this weekend, and I get that much done. So
is that slow mo too?
yeah, I put the trusses up myself, and I was showing a contractor, and he's like, "Man, you need to move a little bit faster than that." But he's right. I was moving pretty slow, but I was doing the whole thing by myself. So.
Ross, tell me this: if you were to slow mo video or do a video on regular speed, you can edit that up or down either direction in some of the softwares, correct? I mean, I know you can do a little bit, but if you videoed in slow mo, you could speed it up in the software, correct?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on your frame rate,
right?
As to the flexibility you got. I mean,
I've taken the high speed down to slow, but I've never tried to raise the slow up, because sometimes you're too damn slow. The thing's not moving. But I've never been able to really lift it up enough to get that sweet spot. I can do it from high to low in the software in Premiere, but from going from low to high to make it move a little quicker, I just haven't had much luck with it.
I mean, if you're playing around with different video speeds, as in slow-mo, whatever, you're always better to film in 60 frames per second, because you got that flexibility, to go either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because once you shoot at 120, Robbie, 120 frames a second, that even gives you more flexibility. But the problem is
super slow-mo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The problem is that, you spend most of your time doing all the tweaking. So you might as well use the right setting from to begin with, and that way you don't have to worry about it.
Save your time on it. Okay, well, look, guys, we're running 30 minutes over. We're going to get out of here.
Good stuff.
And I want to thank everybody for for coming out. And like I said, we're back up every 2 weeks, and Al will have Durant-Fi out. You got anything you want to promote?
Yeah, just join us next Monday night. Hopefully, we'll have a big time guest. Somebody that has 170,000 subscribers. So
Wow.
drop by, and we'll be having a
That's-
discussion how much fun it was.
I guess it's not me.
It ain't me.
Definitely not.
And Ross, what do you got going on in the Maze? What's going to be one of your next videos, or where are you going to be filming at?
Depends on the weather and where we decide. I've got a group of buddies that I always fly with, and he's got the same appeal as myself insofar as doing that cinematic style of video. But he's the grand master of video editing compared to myself, and he's what's the word? Extremely anal, as in he wants everything absolutely perfect. But I take my hat off to him because he's very pedantic in that regard. Anyway, digressing. We normally look at the weather and we pick out another spot because around Brisbane, within an hour and a half, it's just endless.
Yeah.
Mountains, beaches, lakes, rainforests, waterfalls. To be quite honest, in this area, it's almost like utopia with the diversity for drone flying. It's just amazing.
Do y'all have microclimates there, like Costa Rica has, where it can be like raining in one area and 4 minutes down the road sunshine?
It can be, yeah. There's the national park and ranges out the back here, and yeah, you can certainly have it raining up there and it's sunny down here. Yep, and that's an hour and a half away. Yeah.
Well, cool. And Scott, what's going on with you? You just out having fun flying?
Just got back from South Florida drone meetup. I need to get all my gear ready. Probably try to make minefield. Don't think I'm gonna make spin up this year. Which listen to Kelly, it might be the last one, or at least the last one in a while. So that's kind of disappointing. But I did at least get to go once. So
when's minefield?
I think it's August 27th.
I may be home then.
Yeah, I don't. You'd have to double check that date, but I'm pretty sure that's what they said. So.
Okay.
But,
okay. Well, guys, everybody.
It's going. Robbie, it's going to be 2 days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's new.
I wonder where are people gonna stay at?
Well, Ken Herron did put a video out, and he showed that grass field back there and said you can camp back there.
You talking about where we fly, the field behind it?
Yeah, which he's always said that, and a few people have, on the edges have spent the night there. But Billy Tripp, he did an interview with him, and I'm gonna tell you, when you went, Robbie, Billy Tripp was kind of standoffish. Man, last year he was right in there.
Really?
We were one of the first people to show up, and we 6 hours just drove and got there. Hey, y'all got to get your drones up. Ken Herron's fixing to come with a fire truck, and man, we had no more stepped out of the truck, and he's running across the sprinting, and we're grabbing our gear real quick, and me and the guy that was with me, we were able to get our drones up in time to catch the fire truck coming in. But we had 5 minutes, and that was it. So
yeah, it's a good, out in the country like that's a great place. Although around all those towers, of course, great for FPV, not so great for camera drones. But the area is so, how do I say, country.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, Brownsville, Tennessee.
That's right. Okay, guys, we'll see y'all in 2 weeks, and Al will see y'all next Monday night. And we appreciate y'all hanging in there with us. Have a good night.
Good night, guys. Thanks for coming by.
Yep.